All right, now big turning point in Israel-Hamas war. In a big declaration, the Israeli Defense Forces has said that Hamas has lost complete control of the Gaza Strip that it governed for 16 years. Further added that terrorists are fleeing down south and civilians are looting Hamas bases. In fact, the IDF has shared a picture, on Monday, showing the Israeli flag inside Hamas parliament. Basically, Israeli Defense Forces hoisting that flag, looking at it as a victory of sorts inside the Gaza parliament building. In that picture, the team of soldiers can be seen waving the Israeli flags in the terrorist organization's Legislative Council building, calling it an extraordinary achievement. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that if Hamas is not finished off, then they are likely to return. Also adding that it is not an operation here, but a war that will see its end. Meanwhile, military wing of the Palestinian terror group, Hamas, has informed that they are prepared to release around 70 women and children who they have held in Gaza. In fact, this offer is contingent on the condition that a 5-day truce is established with Israel.
An extraordinary achievement, truly amazing. There are no words. I think that what you have done here, you simply decided the battle here. Men and women soldiers, with daring and extraordinary resourcefulness. Well done. This says a lot. To turn the tide from the worst situation imaginable. This says a lot. This is also what we are doing now with the forces that are inside. This is neither an operation nor a round, but a war to the end. It is important to me that you know this. This is not lip service, but from the heart and mind. If we do not finish them, it will come back.
Let me quickly cut across to Gaurav Sawant, who has also been in Israel for weeks, where he managed to capture the ground situation. Gaurav, as you're closely following the updates, we see Israel there almost establishing a victory of sorts as they've managed to capture, in a sense, deploy all their military at the Gaza Strip. The IDF is seen all encompassing the Gaza Strip. They've also entered the parliament building, hoisted the Israeli flag. In a way, it's been a moral booster for them after weeks of pain. They've shown grit to enter areas dominated by Hamas. Of course, one can't turn a blind eye to the civilian casualties coming in from Gaza.
So it took 39 days for the Israeli army to make this point that they're now inside Gaza city. Day 38, they were hoisting their flag inside the parliament or the legislative assembly of Hamas. So that's one symbolic victory. Israeli forces reaching the Gaza beach was the other symbolic victory. Destroying a number of tunnels, maze of tunnels, reaching the hospitals. Apart from Al-Shifa, there are multiple other hospitals where Israeli forces have now not just reached, but even as you and I speak, Israeli Navy SEALs and special forces are inside those tunnels, and they've given out images, they've put out images of how from operatives, the houses of operatives, to schools in the Gaza Strip, to mosques in Gaza Strip, to these hospitals, there was a maze of tunnels. According to them, there were hostages kept in these tunnels, there were command and control centers, and there were weapons storage bases. They've destroyed some. According to Israel, it's still work half done. They still have to reach the other end, that's virtually the the Egyptian border, and ensure that Hamas is eliminated. You heard Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. He said this isn't an operation, this isn't an exercise, this is war to finish Hamas.
Well, certainly this is war and it's gone on for 39 days, Gaurav. But if you could give us a quick insight into India's stance when it comes to a UN resolution about Israeli occupation in the areas, disputed areas of Gaza Strip and the West Bank. India has been very clear on that front. While India does not support Hamas terror organization or what they did on October 7th, at the same time, India has very clearly put out its stance that it will not support any kind of occupation done by Israel. Give us more on India's perception on the UN resolution.
India has always had a principled stance on Gaza or on Palestine and on Israel. India's against occupation in principle. We've been victims of occupation ourselves. So India on principle is against occupation of any territory. At the same time, India is for two independent countries existing peacefully with each other, not harming the other. And as you very rightly pointed out, Nabila, Hamas targeting Israel on the 7th of October was not what those who were governing the Gaza Strip since 2007 do to a neighbor. There was a ceasefire in place till the 6th of October that was violated on the 7th when close to 1,200 plus people were massacred and 240 plus, including a 10-month-old child, were taken hostage. Women with dementia, Holocaust survivors were taken hostage. Women were raped and burnt alive. So all of this, Israel says, was an act of war, and they will finish the threat. As far as the civilians in Gaza are concerned, it's Hamas' responsibility, the entity that was ruling Gaza Strip, to ensure safety of civilians there. Even today, a safe corridor was given for those who wanted to leave, and that area was not targeted. In fact, in a way, it's Hamas terrorists who are also using this safe corridor, and Israel has put out videos of Hamas not fighting in uniform, but fighting in plain clothes with their rocket launchers, with their anti-tank guided missiles, in plain clothes targeting Israeli forces. So they say that even if they're going south this way, and that's what we've been speaking to officers, they will isolate them in the south and then target them there or hope that they escape. As far as the ceasefire is concerned, they say return all hostages unharmed immediately and the shelling would stop. But the hunt for Hamas will continue.
All right, Gaurav, 250 odd hostages, Israeli citizens who are being held hostage by Hamas are still yet to be rescued, while the IDF has marched towards the Gaza Strip. They are trying every trick in the book to trying to release their citizens, but it appears that Hamas has held them tight and also have asked for a ceasefire, 5-day ceasefire in return for at least 70 of their citizens, 70 hostages. Well, this war is far from over. Gaurav Sawant brings us all those details. Thanks very much, Gaurav, for joining us on that. Now, amid this escalating war between Israel and Hamas, the Israeli Defense Forces has released a 6-minute-long video where it claims to expose the tactics of Hamas. The video shows the tunnel which exists into Gaza's Al-Shifa Hospital. According to the IDF, in fact, these tunnels are being used by Hamas terrorists as cover, as shield. They operate and hold Israeli hostages against their will along these areas. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Forces continue to march towards all areas of Gaza Strip. IDF has attacked the Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City, forcing hundreds to flee. Those who are looking for medical aid have no other choice but to run away to save whatever little life they have of them. IDF units have also ran into an ambush, came under fire while operating near the Al-Quds hospital. Now, one knows that many of these hospitals, mosques, schools are being used as shields by the Hamas terror groups, the Hamas operatives who are working underground in tunnels to try and operate from those civilian areas. On the other hand, the US President Joe Biden now and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak have said that the hospitals in Gaza must be protected to save innocent lives.
An operational tunnel. The tunnel is built with electricity. We first saw the solar panels, then the electricity goes here, and it goes down directly to the tunnel. Now you can see the tunnel. You can see the tunnel. The tunnel is let down more than 20 meters down. The rowboat found a door that is bulletproof. It's explosives proof, so it looks like a hard evidence, a clear evidence that the hospital direction is connected. We're now entering into the area of the hospital where we had found the evidence. This operation was conducted by Israeli Special Unit, the Israeli Navy SEALs. I want you to understand, this kind of gear is a gear for a major fight. These are explosives. These are vests with explosives. A woman, clothes, and a rope. A rope next to the legs. And look above this. Look above it. It's a baby bottle. It's a baby bottle in a basement. Above a World Health Organization sign. This is a suspicion for an area where hostages were being held. There is a list. This list, in Arabic, this list says, we are in an operation. The operation against Israel started in the 7th of October. This is a Guardian list where every terrorist writes his name and every terrorist has his own shift guarding the people that were here.
I went to the hospital with a video camera and personally documented more concrete evidence. The concrete evidence are that Hamas uses hospitals as an instrument of war. Underneath the hospital, in the basement, we found a Hamas command and control center, suicide bomb vests, grenades, AK-47 assault rifles, explosive devices, RPGs and other weapons, computers, money, etc. And we also found signs that indicate that Hamas held hostages here.
You know, I have not been reluctant in expressing my concerns what's going on. And it's my hope and expectation that there will be less intrusive action relative to the hospital. We're in contact and we're with the Israelis. Also, there's an effort to take this pause to deal with the release of prisoners. And that's being negotiated as well with the Qataris that are engaged. And so I remain somewhat hopeful. But the hospital must be protected.
We've been clear that they must act within international law. They must take all measures to protect innocent civilians, including at hospitals, stop extremist violence in the West Bank, and allow more aid into Gaza. Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority, described to me the terrible suffering of the Palestinian people. Too many civilians are losing their lives. That's why I've doubled our aid to Gaza and why we continue to press, both at the United Nations and directly with Israel, for unhindered humanitarian access and urgent and substantive humanitarian pauses.